I expected the usual homecoming. The hum of the refrigerator, the silence of a house that had been empty for 72 hours, and perhaps a half-hearted apology from Marcus about forgetting to take the trash out. What I did not expect was to find my life displayed like a garage sale on my own driveway. The afternoon sun was beating down on Oak Creek, turning the asphalt into a shimmering heat haze. My sedan crunched over the gravel as I pulled in, and I immediately slammed on the brakes. My heart didn't just skip a beat. It stopped dead. Strewn across the neatly manicured grass and the hot pavement of the driveway were black industrial trash bags. They were split open. My favorite charcoal blazer, the silk blouse I wore to my promotion interview, and even my winter boots were scattered haphazardly among the weeds. It looked like someone had emptied a closet from a moving truck and left it for the vultures. I sat in my car for a long minute, my hands white-knuckled on the steering wheel. Was this a burglary? I scanned the neighborhood. Everything looked perfectly normal. Mrs. Gable across the street was watering her petunias as if my entire professional wardrobe hadn't been dumped on the ground. I stepped out of the car, my breath catching in my throat. I knelt to pick up a stack of sweaters, my skin crawling. These weren't just discarded. They had been handled with a strange, aggressive haste. As I reached for a sleeve of my favorite cardigan, the front door swung open. Elena stood there. She was wearing a robe that I distinctly remembered seeing in Marcus's dresser drawer months ago, a silk thing I had assumed he'd donated. She looked perfectly at home, holding a glass of iced tea as if she were the lady of the manor, and I was the unwelcome solicitor. "What the hell are you doing here, Elena?" I asked, my voice shaking with a mix of fury and confusion. She didn't even flinch. She just took a slow, deliberate sip of her drink and offered me a saccharine smile. "Oh, Tessa, you're back early. Marcus told me your trip was extended." My blood turned to ice. I pushed past her, not waiting for an invitation. I didn't care about the social contract anymore. I marched through the entryway, my heels clicking sharply against the hardwood. The house smelled different. It smelled like heavy floral perfume and something sharp like bleach. I found Marcus in the living room. He was sitting on the sofa, scrolling through his phone with his feet propped up on the coffee table. He looked up, his expression shifting from mild irritation to a practiced, weary sigh. "Tessa, you're home," he said, not standing up to greet me. I gestured wildly toward the front door, toward the lawn where my belongings were currently being baked by the sun. "Marcus, my clothes are on the driveway. Tell me why your ex-wife is standing in my hallway wearing my robe." He sighed again, the sound loud and dismissive in the quiet room. "It's an emergency, Tessa. Don't be dramatic. Elena had a crisis with her apartment, a pipe burst or something, I don't know. The landlord is a nightmare. She needed a place to stay for a couple of weeks until she gets back on her feet." I stared at him, unable to process the sheer audacity of the statement. "A couple of weeks? You cleared out my closet to make room for her? That's my guest room, that's my closet, and that is my life sitting on the lawn." He stood up then, his face hardening into that familiar mask of exhaustion he wore whenever I dared to have a boundary. "You're overreacting, as usual. We have the space. The guest room was just sitting there collecting dust. It's not like you're using it. And honestly, your clothes were disorganized anyway." I told her she could move her things into the primary suite walk-in, so she wouldn't feel like a guest. "It's just temporary." I felt a sharp, stabbing pain behind my eyes. I looked toward the kitchen. The sound of clinking silverware drifted into the hallway. I walked into the kitchen to find them eating dinner with my grandmother's china, and when I told Marcus to pack her bags, he told me I was the one who needed to learn to be more hospitable.